Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is it. This is the big one. Manchester United, stop laughing, entertaining West Ham in the Premier League. It's 17th versus 15th. Joe Smith is here with me, as always. Joe, I don't know what you're scoffing at, right? It doesn't get much bigger than this.
In what way?
What? Don't you know? Football and that.
I mean, when you say it doesn't get much bigger than this, if you include every football team in the country, at every age group, this is one of the more high-level games, by percentage. But as far as Man United's modern history, in fact, entire history goes, this is one of the least consequential games we've ever had.
Right, all right, Joe. If you want me to say I can't recall a less important Premier League game in my lifetime than the one we're about to witness, then fine, I'll say it.
I've got a little bonus upside to all this.
Go on.
If we were challenging for top four still, in the Premier League, we might have been knocked out of the Europa. What? Like the fact that we've been able to, we were resting players last week. We've got Fredrickson, we've had Amas, we've had Obi starting games. It's so obvious that the league is just finished. That at least we've been able to fully focus on the Europa League. Because we could have easily been 5th or 6th in that kind of Newcastle-y, Villa-y kind of space, challenging on both fronts, and actually both of them taken away from each other. At least, I think United have had 2 wins in our last 12 games.
Because Jose set his stall out, because we were still in with a shout, I think, of getting top 4. When he decided to give up on it, because he gave up on it in January. And we know he gave up on it because he told everyone. He said, forget the league, we'll go for Europa because that'll get us into the Champions League. And to be fair, he did. So yeah, you are right. I get your point. It could be dodgy. I've said this and you've said it many times. United haven't got a squad for fighting properly on multiple fronts.
No.
We've barely got one to fight properly on one front. And even then you've had to choose the one that's probably the weakest. So yeah, I think you make a great point. With all that being said, it would be nice to see a bit of consistency, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. And I'm not saying, let's give up and who cares completely, because obviously I want to win. And 2 in the last 12 is genuinely, when have we ever seen that as United fans? And it would be nice as well for some of these players to start to build a bit of confidence on both, I say both, but it's only the Premier League until that the Europa Final now. But in the Premier League, build a bit of confidence for that final. People like Mason Mount behind us had a very good cameo, an excellent performance against Bilbao when he came on. Ahmad the same. People like those two haven't been starting games because of injury and other things. But will they start that final? They'll want to, and now is your time to sort of prove that. And if you get a few wins, the little flicks and tricks that came out yesterday once basically the tie was over, I want to see more of that. I want to see some confidence and some enjoyment and happiness in how United play. Not just this sort of like trudging out, losing, going back and talking about the Europa League again. I want us to actually look like a proper football team. So yeah, a little bit of consistency would be a good thing, because let's not forget we are playing a Premier League team in this final, so we can't just be terrible every time we play an English side, because if that continues we'll lose. So a little bit of consistency, like you said, is a really important thing, I think.
No, it is, and I think there's 1 or 2 players like Mount might be in with the shout of starting the final. You make a point there, because I think he's a player that Amorim likes, and he's obviously done very well in the recent game against Athletic Club. So that might be giving the manager something to think about. For me, I think if Ahmad's fully fit, he will start. But we don't know. We don't know what the manager's thinking. He might look at him and go, okay, here's an option. I think Garnacho is probably the other side of that, where he's been playing almost every game. And maybe he's sort of being looked at now as, is he going to start for a final? Because his form hasn't been the best. I know he had a decent game, was it against Brentford, where he got, I think, a goal and assist, but then you saw him against Athletic Club. He struggled. He has struggled a lot over this course of this season. So there's all these different sort of decisions that the manager needs to make. One thing we have seen a little bit more of late, which has been a refreshing change, even though it hasn't necessarily led to wins, especially not in the Premier League anyway, has been goals. We've been scoring a lot more goals recently. I mean, we scored, was it 3 against Brentford? Didn't get anything out of it. We scored a load against Leon. We scored a load against Athletic Club. But we have been scoring goals in football matches, which is what we need to start doing more of, isn't it?
Massively, yeah. 16 goals in our last 6 games, which is 3 a game-ish, just under. Like, that is good. That's far better than we've been doing all season. I think we've scored 42 goals in 35 Premier League games. Like, basically just over 1 goal per game across the whole season. So this little turn in the last few weeks is very good. And like we said, 7 plus 5, 12 of those goals have come against European opposition. But I think this whole thing of like, if you're playing against Lyon or Bilbao, they're just crap and you should batter them. I don't think that's the case. I think it is easier said than done beating these teams and scoring goals against them. So I do think that there's some signs of improvement and optimism there. And I think the Brentford game as well, I know everything's winding down a little bit, but they've got a lot to fight for. Brentford, they're trying to go for Europe this season. And if it weren't for the fact that we conceded so many goals, and some of those were preventable with maybe first team players playing or just switching on, 3 goals is usually enough to win a match. Now, luckily we're so bad that it isn't, but I say unluckily, should I say, that it wasn't. But finally converting some of those chances and making enough chances consistently is a really big deal. And with the likes, as we mentioned before, I mentioned them again, Ahmad and Mount coming back in particular, you can see why United would be able to make chances more consistently. And if they can keep doing that, averaging 2-3 goals per game for the rest of the season, we'll probably win all of them. And that would obviously be a fantastic end to the season. But finally making the chances and scoring the goals, hopefully, even if it is just luck or a blip, it's coming at the right time.
Yeah, it is, and it's been probably the biggest bugbear in a season full of bugbears for us lot, is the lack of goals.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not just losing matches, we're losing matches without scoring goals, without any entertainment, without putting up a fight, and that just is unacceptable on any level for Manchester United. With all that being said then, should we get into predicted 11s? Yeah. Before we do though, I want to remind everyone, get your phones out, film yourself in landscape for 30 seconds and send that with the score prediction. Sorry, don't just film yourself. Give us a score prediction for this game for 30 seconds and send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com, and we will use that as part of our pre-match build-up on the watch-along.
We had loads for the Europa semi-final the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Really good
that's
stuff.
what I want, right? And we're saying this, next season, we're going to start getting some of the people that send in their predicted 11s, predicted scores, on previews. We've done it a couple of times this season, but next season we'll try and do it a little bit more.
Yeah,
so when you send us your predicted scores, let us know where you're based and whether you can get down to Manchester.
Yeah.
Let's get into predicted teams then.
Shall I go first?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I've made some rotation, but I also think we have to remember that the Europa League Final is still 10, 11 days away when this game takes place.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like, you don't want to rest everyone for 2 weeks non-stop.
Yeah.
Because you need people to stay sharp. Obviously, we don't want injuries. So I've made a bit of rotation, as you can see. Lindelof and Maguire, I think they'll play because Martinez isn't back. Luke Shaw, maybe he could come in. I know he didn't play as much, so that's one thing where I think we might see a change. But centre-backs wise, we don't have loads left.
No.
I think Mazraoui needs a rest, absolutely. He's played 50 games this season.
I agree.
Most he's ever played in his career, and we need him fit for the final. I've brought Fredrickson back in. Didn't think he had a very good game against Burnley, personally. I think he was a little
against
bit...
Brentford.
Against Brentford, apologies, yeah. I thought it was ball watching a little bit for a couple of the goals, wasn't quite switched on, but he's a young lad, and in his other start he looked very good, so let's give him another chance. Dorgu, again, he's sort of in the Lindelof and Maguire situation where he probably will start, because we ain't got that many wing backs, especially with Dalot being out and Luke Shaw kind of not really a wing back anymore. I've gone with Amas on the other side. Again, not his best game against Brentford, but hopefully we can see a bit more from him. I've gone with Ugarte and Bruno. I think that Ugarte gets subbed off all the time, so he's probably got a little bit left in his legs.
I agree with that.
And I think Bruno just plays all the time and should play all the time. Then I've gone with a sort of a rotated set of number 10s. I want to see what Mount and Ahmad look like in those positions. I know, Garnacho, he's been slightly frustrated, he's done good things, he's done bad things, but he's kind of a known quantity at this point. What do these two look like in there? Assuming they're both ready to start a match, I think Mount and Ahmad would be a great little partnership in there. You've got the sort of winger style in Ahmad, and you've got the number 10 style in Mount, which is what Amorim likes to do. And then I've gone with Obi up front, and that's because I think I would like to play Højlund the game before. I think play Højlund against Chelsea, so he's got a bit of momentum going into it. I know he scored the other day, but it was kind of toward the end of the game, and on a plate for him. I don't think he had a very good game at all against Bilbao.
He did get a lot of stick from the crowd. I think Højlund, not booing or anything, but I could hear a lot of voices shouting at him.
Yeah, first half he was just non-existent.
Yeah.
And, I've defended him a lot and think he's been in an unfair situation, but I would give Obi another go personally. Yeah,
I agree with a lot of what you've said, to be honest with you, bro. My team is very, very similar. I think I've gone with Shaw, Lindelof and Fredriksson. I mean, I could have gone either way. I just feel like he might go with Lindelof over Maguire, just because Maguire's a little bit more important, has just played on a Thursday night. He might just think, okay, I'll give him the rest.
Yeah.
Dorgu, I've gone midfield, if you count the wing backs in that, of Dorgu, Ugarte.
Same as mine.
Yeah. I've got Ugarte and Mainu in the middle.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I put Bruno and Garnacho in the 10s. I think Bruno will start. I hear you about Mount and Ahmad. I still have this thing about being a little bit cautious with them both with injuries.
Yeah.
And I might be being overly cautious, and the manager might be like, look, they're both ready to start now. They've had these substitute appearances. This is the game they start. But I'm still a little bit like kid gloves, especially with Ahmad, who I think is vital for this final. I think he starts the final if he's fit. Mount, I'm not so sure. I think it's 50-50, but I think Ahmad is a starter, so I'll be mindful of him. I get your point about Højlund. I don't think he had a particularly good game, but he scored. And I don't mind strikers having bad games when they score. I don't even mind strikers having bad games when they score tap-ins. I think that's fine. If you get a goal as a striker, I understand. I know in an ideal world you should be doing more than just scoring, but I can kind of forgive it a little bit. If it's like, well, at least he got a goal, at least he contributed. But it wasn't a good game. I think maybe just give him a bit of a breather. And I think you make a good point as well. I hate saying this so often, but you are making a lot of good points. Play him just before the final. Give him an hour before the game, get that little bit of momentum and do it that way rather than just playing him in, running him into the ground. So yeah, I've gone with Chido Obi. I feel a bit sorry for the youngster. As a 17-year-old, he shouldn't be relied upon for goals at Manchester United, and it kind of feels like he is now. I know he's not scored yet, but people look at him and go, can he get us out of this mess in the league? Can he get the goals in the league? And it shouldn't be that way. In an ideal world, it wouldn't be, but we're not in an ideal world. We're in a world where Manchester United are currently sat 15th in the Premier League and only have 2 strikers, one of whom is Chido Obi. So needs must.
Yeah.
That's just where we're at. So that's my team. Get involved in the chat in the comments and let us know what you think. Don't forget, these are predicted, not preferred. So, hello, is that West Ham? Should we talk about West Ham then?
Yeah, go on then.
Do you get that reference?
I get it, but I didn't know it until I heard it as a reference rather than actually seeing it in real time. So
that is an excellent answer.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It's
like a lot of white chicks. People used to quote that all the time when I was at school.
And
I'd heard all the jokes from people I didn't like telling it at school. And then when I watched it, I thought,
I think it's garbage, that film.
Speaking of garbage,
West Ham, who amazingly are a little bit worse than us and don't have Europe as an excuse.
Yes, I don't think that. What is it? No wins in like 9 for them. I don't think they've won since February, which is, even by our standards, horrific. And again, it's FC, grass is always fucking greener, isn't it? And we called this at the time when they were hounding David Moyes out of the club, despite the fact that he'd won them their only trophy in 60 years. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't enough for West Ham. He's taken us as far as we can go. You know what? Yes, he has. That's because this is as far as you can go. That you're not going to bring a new manager in and all of a sudden finish 4th. Like, shut up. Be happy with what you've got. They've gone from a team that, 10 years ago were in the Championship and they had Ricardo Vazte scoring loads of goals for them, to winning a European competition and basically saying, yeah, but the style of play shit, cool. Enjoy your 17th position style of play. And that's coming from someone who supports the team in 15th, so I'm allowed to say it. Bollocks.
Yeah, it's not happened for Potter, has it?
No.
At all.
Oh, but at least look at what he did with Brighton. Yeah, I could manage Brighton. They've got all the fucking best players.
Do you still hate Brighton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm all
I don't hate him. I just feel like I got sick of them being the hipsters' favourite. But people have moved on now. Anyway, it's Bournemouth now.
I get a bit like that with Leicester winning the league.
Do you?
Everything compared. Well, Leicester won the league with Wes Morgan at centre back.
Yeah.
Any player you have, people go, well, Leicester won the league with a worse right back than that, well, Leicester won the league when they nearly got relegated the season before. It's an outlier.
Yeah.
It doesn't count when you're having these arguments. We're never going to see anything like that again.
No.
Like, shut up.
It's like the opposite to the opposite side of the coin of we can put a man on the moon, but we can't do this.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if we can't do that, but Leicester did it.
Leicester did
it.
Yeah,
but that's not you. We're not. That's they're 5,000 to 1 for a reason.
Yeah. If I said United are going to win the league next season, you'd think I was mental, and rightly so. And then people go, well, Leicester did a similar thing.
Yeah. That was the greatest upset in the history of sport. Don't act like that is going to be replicated. That has never happened before. That is more mad than Forest getting promoted, winning the
European Cup
league, and then the European Cup 2 years in a row afterwards. It's genuinely harder to do what Leicester did.
Yeah, it is.
Because football has changed so much.
Changed so much, and it's over 38 games as well, and you're up against teams that had billions of pounds.
Yeah.
It's just a complete and utter outlier.
Yeah.
You've got Jamie Vardy breaking all sorts of records. You've got N'Golo Kante, who happens to be one of the best defensive midfielders in the history of football, playing for you. And you also had Riyad Mahrez, who, what was he, Player of the Year as well? Yeah. PFA Player of the Year. Like, it's just unreal. So let's stop pretending it's going to happen again.
Actually, what Forest did maybe was a bit more impressive.
It might be more impressive, but I think the Leicester one was more difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, winning the European Cup was very, very hard. Obviously, we only did it once, and I'm not dismissing it. Yeah. I'm just thinking that, I don't know. Let's get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know which was harder. Well, when did Forest do that 40 years ago?
1978 or whatever. Yeah. It's a once in a generation thing.
Yeah. So just bore off about Leicester and bore off West Ham thinking you're mint and bore off you Brighton hipsters.
Brilliant.
Right, what's your score prediction?
I think we will win.
Shut up.
Shoot and win. I think we'll do it. I think we're going to score a couple of goals as well. I think that West Ham are really bad, and they've given up even more than we have because they're not going down. They're probably going to sack the manager, but they don't have a Europa or something else to fight for because obviously they sack the manager that gets them into European finals. I think United will win the game, and I think it will be 2-0. 2-0 to Manchester United.
I think Potter will end up getting sacked. I think Graham Potter is one of the least inspiring managers around.
How much of it is
just feel sorry for him,
face?
But he just looks like someone that no one really wants to listen to. Do you know what I mean?
It's a shame that, isn't it? And it shouldn't be a thing, but it is a thing. Yeah. The fact that he looks a bit like a sort of... You could imagine him being overly keen at working at like a sort of town fete.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's there well early.
Really
he's got
early.
It all set up.
There's loads of straw bales around.
Yeah.
And he's like doing face paints, but he does a bit of everything. Yeah, because he set the whole thing up.
Yeah. I can imagine him doing that. You're right, and that's not what you want from a manager when you're struggling against relegation.
It's not, is it?
So what did you say? What was your score? You said 2-0 United.
Yeah. Good times rolling.
I think we'll win. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we'll get an early goal, and West Ham will say, "Well, we'd given up before, now we've proper give up."
Yeah.
And actually, United will think, "Bloody hell, these have give up more than we have in the league." I'll go 3-0.
I think they'll unveil a tifo at Old Trafford.
Are you a tifo fan?
I'm neutral on them. I don't think they're embarrassing or like cringy or anything, but they don't particularly inspire me. Especially the ones that we have, where they're a bit like state-sponsored tifo.
Tifo with the fireworks and the gender reveal thing as well. It's a bit like, I don't know. I always look at it and go, I get it. Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot because I'm like a middle-aged man. I think this isn't really what I'm about.
Yeah,
but I understand that.
I
people
can't imagine
like
seeing that, taking a picture of it, and then tweeting the word cold. You know what I mean? A lot of people do. I wouldn't go that far, but they're all right.
Yeah, let us know what you think about tifos. Let us know your score predictions. Don't forget to send them to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. That's been Joe Smith. Go and check him out on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. You know where to find me. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.